It's a big responsibility to talk about such important subject to such an important audience, and to do it in 15 minutes, it's an even bigger challenge. So, what we do in Hydrosoft, we do irrigation management systems. This includes software that we design, includes monitoring equipment, and includes services as well. But these are the tools, are not the solutions. We need to use these building blocks and find the solutions for each organization and each project. The drivers, I think you all know. Water, agriculture and farming use a lot of water. But whether this is an impact or not, it's not irrelevant. Despite the communications I saw earlier that products are selling less, the medium term and the general term is that we will need to produce more. The pressure on the prices and the margins is also a driver. And the pressure on the environment, the impact on the environment is also becoming more and more important. Regulations and supports from the European Union and other authorities, certifications from consumers, is also important. So I believe nothing of this is new, but these are the drivers. The point is, as much as it's important, can we make it in a sustainable way? Can we make it in a way that it's balanced? That we're looking at the financial side of the operation. Can we look at the production and the environmental and still comply with regulations? We do a lot of work with major operations in POs. And these projects are funded by environmental actions, measures, and this, I think, underlines the importance that water management will have in the future. I took an example to show you on processing tomato. We do a lot of work in processing tomato. I didn't know which exactly example we could choose. I could show you some examples of fieldwork, some examples of successful projects, but I think that the financial side is also good in this example. It's a common denominator that you can very likely use on your own activities, and it's probably easier to relate to your activities. What we see here is that, in fact, water, it's not a high cost. Quite often it's not even a problem of availability. You will see João afterwards. He has a lot in stock and he will tell you about it. But here we see it's only worth 5% of the crop budget. And a lot of people would think, quite rightly, why would I spend money trying to save 20? At best 30% of something that is worth 5%. This will have a minimum impact on my crop budget. While this is true, I want to give you a different perspective, which is that water is very linked to, closely related to the fertilizers, and somehow also to the chemicals that we use. A healthy plant uses a lot less chemicals. You can have an impact here. Irrigation management has an impact on this. Plants do not uptake fertilizers as they come. They all enter the plant in the water. So water takes fertilizers to the plant, but also takes them away from the plant if you do apply too much water. So we see from these 3 lines that the percentage of the crop budget has already gone up to 33%, the percentage of the crop budget which is influenced by water. But there's also another observation we see here, is that if you look at, to the crop budget that we have here, the crop items, other than these 3 that we're highlighting, all others happen until planting and until harvesting. So harvesting and transport comes afterwards. The land comes before. The planting, the irrigation system, the installation of the actual irrigation system, which can also be influenced by water management, because the performance of the irrigation system is related to the way you manage it and the way you use it. Insurance, interest, land preparation, and others. So you can see that actually the day-to-day work between the planting of the plant and the harvesting involves water. And this actually is what takes most time and most importance on the grower. He irrigates every day, he fertilizes some days, and he treats not every day. So you can have a different perspective of the importance of the water. On a different view, under the potential, we look at what's a possible scenario. And this is an exercise we always do when we approach a new project. If we take the cost of fertilizers, the costs of water and energy, and the cost of the chemicals, and we assume that I can take probably 5% reduction on fertilizers, 10% of water, which is the most direct cost, and 5% of the chemicals, I have some potential cost savings. But I can also influence the income, acting and influencing better product or more production. If I assume in case of tomato that I can have 71 euros per ton and I can increase 2.5% of my production, or even improve 1 bricks on the scale, that gives me 2 euros per each ton. In total, I have a potential, and this is, okay, it's a combined scenario, but it's not extremely ambitious, can give me a gain of 477 euros per hectare. And a nominal, a very good system, which you can adapt to each organization, which more or less work, more or less equipment, but can cost you 40 to 50. Obviously, there's a timeline here. There is a time to implement, a time to take the value. There's an investment, and therefore it's good to take the opportunity that there are subsidies or funds from environmental measures for this initial investment phase. On the producer organization, and this is very important, that we also look at the perspective of the global picture of a producer organization. In water management and a good system, we have to be able to zoom, we have to be able to work with the individual, but also take advantage of the organization. And when we see here on the bricks category, there is actually, we see that most of the productions are below the average. We can also see that some produce a lot more quantity and some produce less. This means that inside the organization, there is information that I can use, and with management and by working from water upwards to the other management factors, we can actually improve this. We can raise the whole production, and we can bring the producers to the upper scale of the performance. So, if the potential is there, why is still a gap? And we do still have this gap. We have the knowledge, we have the technology, and we have the potential. But on the other side, there is still a gap. Reasons are various. Each project will have its own reasons. And I would probably take out the most common ones you'll find, which is the time it takes. It takes time, I don't have the time. People are under pressure today, this is true. It takes investment, it's also true. People are limited in the capacity to invest, and there is no certainty that the benefit is there. We have big reasons, but there's no certainty. We need to cross this bridge as well. Access to the information, access to the solutions is also a problem. It's difficult, it requires knowledge, it requires new things. People are not always open to it. People live under pressure. So the solution is not the tools, as I said. The solution is to make this gap. This is what we've been focused on. We started from the building blocks that you say, and we tried to make the gap. We need to design and adapt. This means studying the organization we're working with. How do they work? Each one is different, so each one needs a different solution. We need to simplify. We need to make that as simple as possible. If it's not simple, it doesn't get used. If it doesn't get used, it's of no value. We need to influence the performance, and therefore we need to simplify. And this is different for each organization. One crop, we can simplify some things. On another crop, we can simplify others. We can make it simple access, so people use it, people take advantage, and people improve it. Communication, we're talking about information. It's all about information. So communication is key. We need to work at the global scale. We need to work at the organization, but we need to reach the individual, because he's the one who puts the water on and puts the fertilizer on. So communication is the key. And the more feedback we have communication going to the grower and back from the grower, the more we can improve the system and the more we can improve the performance. Training and support. This is very important. We need to get people involved. If we just us working, or even the technicians of the PO, we can have, example, 3 or 4 people. If we involve the growers, we have a lot more people involved. The chances of success are much higher. We need to transfer the knowledge and teach people to use the system and being autonomous. This is an example of design. I'll go quickly through this. It just shows you that we go to an organization and we study the flow chart of what they do. Everybody already does water management. Everyone irrigating has a water management process. Could be simple, could be informal, could have more records, Excel files, routines, or whatever they use. We need to study them and carefully introduce new items and the routines. Everybody already spends time. It does not need to take more time. Sometimes it can even take less time, but we need to put the right information at the right time of the routines. If we disturb too much the routines, we're increasing the challenge and the chances of succeeding. So the design is important. We use our software, and this is one of our keys. It's a web-based software that we used. For many years we did water management, and we found out that we had to make something different. It's extremely flexible. It allows us to adapt to several organizations. Some like to see the information at night. Some like to see it on the mobile. Some like it by email. Some just like phone call. Some like the consultant go deep into the information. Some like it very basic. Some use one equipment. Some use the other. It needs to be powerful and complete and accurate. Information available anywhere. We had problems in the past. Someone had information, we had another information. Communication was difficult. Multiple users, everyone needs to be involved, looking at the same information, updated. The software allows us to collect, model, analyze, and display the information. So it's working for us. It's always there. And make it simple. The more the software can do, the more the technology can do for us, the less cost we can work at. This is also key. If we can use people, and if these tools help people doing the work, and the people at the field can do the work, I don't need to go there. Then I have more information and I have lower cost. This makes the project feasible. It's important, the analysis, to extrapolate. I can work very accurate at the local level, but the ability to have the big numbers of an organization of many hectares and to extrapolate, I cannot have monitoring points on every parcel. Every plot of land, every square meter will be different. If I'm not able to extrapolate and the numbers, the quantity give me the chance to compensate for the lack of precision of not having equipment everywhere. So we need to this capacity of analysis, of looking at thousands of hectares of production, of consumptions against results and who's doing what. Also, we see here satellite images. We can use satellite images to relate monitoring points to non-monitoring points. And this is very important because if our cost is not diluted to the global area, then we're not acting. We cannot be viable. If you look at the costs on just the monitoring areas, we cannot be viable. Support and train. We transfer as much knowledge as we can, but we have to do it at the field level. But we also do it very efficiently remotely. This works very well. It disrupts very little of people's time. We prepared meetings. We have meetings remotely. People can share the screens, can look at the same information. They stop half an hour. It doesn't take more time than they already take to do the irrigation management, and they answer the questions and can move. In the past, when they tried to use equipment, they were blocked at no answers, and they made no progress, and the equipment and the tools get abandoned. This makes a big difference. Simple communication. Here we see smartphone. It can be on any phone. You can have text messages. You can receive information the way you want, alerts on weather forecast, whichever way you want. But important is this allows easy to make information coming back from the field. People are at the field, they can take a photo, they can send it back. So you have feedback from the grower. You're making an advice, but you know how it stays. And the information is used, it will provide more information. In the end, we need also everyone to be involved. That's why sharing the information, working with the customers, consultants, technicians, all levels, board members want to see some information on performance. The other one wants to know more information on the irrigation needs. Information is shared and can be viewed at several levels, but it's always the same information. So we use all of this combined to reach a very easy conclusions, and in the end of the day is where, when, how much I need to irrigate. And with these 3 questions, and 3 answers, I need to affect the performance of the operation. So this is the work we are doing. Some of what we've done in the past, and this is where we're up to. We started in Portugal 4 years ago. We already work in other countries, and I think that's happening more and more. We work with POs and then to end customers through POs. We manage complex projects, some of them with more than 10,000 hectares in more than one country, on the same clients, several teams. We now have more than 200,000 hectares, 300 systems and people, and we have results that could motivate us to continue and find solutions, each solution for each project.